This is your guide to the Blood Hunter, a D&D 5e adventure for one DM and one player, designed for Matt Mercer's 2020 Blood Hunter class. Hi, Bob here, and welcome to Bob World Builder, the D&D channel where we improve our games together. Today, we'll be taking a look at Matt Mercer's Blood Hunter class, and then walking through the Blood Hunter Adventure by Anthony Joyce, the sponsor of this video. I hope this one-on-one adventure will be just what you need to keep playing D&D safely at home with family or online with a friend. And it's based around Phandalin, so I'll be including some tips to tie it into your Dragon of Icefire Peak campaign and make it even more fun. You can see a full preview of this adventure and support the channel by checking out the Blood Hunter using the DM's Guild affiliate link below. And we're doing a giveaway. One free copy for every 50 likes on this video, maximum of 5 winners, by Friday, April 10th. To enter, leave a comment below with Blood Hunter in all caps, and the winners will be announced in my gameplay video of this adventure on April 15th. Stepping into the lightless chambers of ancient dust and lingering whispers, the halfling's nose picks up the pungent smell of imminent danger as she hears the scraping of bone and claw on nearby stone. She winces as she runs her blade across her palm, the steel transmuting her blood into glowing runes of powerful magic, her sword suddenly engulfed in arcane flames, eager to brand and burn the flesh of her enemies. Much like necromancy, hemocraft, or blood magic, is forbidden in many places and frowned upon nearly everywhere else. Blood hunters are rare and born of desperation, for vengeance, for protection, and for the sense of family among their orders. They have a D10 hit die and proficiency in light and medium armor, shields, all weapons, alchemist supplies, and dexterity and intelligence saving throws. And since the adventure employs a level 5 blood hunter, let's check out the first few class features. At level 1, Hunter's Bane is the ritual your character undergoes to become a blood hunter, granting advantage on wisdom survival checks to track fae, fiends, or undead, as well as on intelligence checks to recall information about them. Basically the ranger's favored enemy trait, but for 3 creature types instead of 1. Blood Maledict gives you 1 blood curse at first level. Kind of like Warlock Eldritch Invocations, these effects can be amplified by spending a number of hit points equal to 1 roll of your Hemocraft die, and you get more curses and uses at later levels. At level 2, you choose a fighting style, archery, dueling, great weapon fighting, or 2-weapon fighting, and you choose a Crimson Rite, which allows you to spend a Hemocraft die to temporarily enchant a weapon with 1d4 fire, cold, or lightning damage. And at 3rd level, you choose a Blood Hunter order, Ghost Slayer, which is exactly what it sounds like, Profane Soul, a half Warlock, Mutant, a half Artificer, or Lycan, a Werewolf with self-control. Like any subclass, these grant more features at later levels, then you get an ability score increase at level 4, and an extra attack at level 5. Overall, the Blood Hunter class feels like a darker, edgier version of the Ranger, and its reliance on intelligence for some features makes it a lot like another DM's Guild class, the Slayer, which you can see my review of in the card above. But now, it's time to turn to our one-on-one Blood Hunter adventure by Anthony Joyce. I love this cover piece by Gordon McAlpin and Rebecca McConnell. The flaming sword makes it very Game of Thrones or Witcher-esque. The character has this strong but desperate expression, and you can't help but wonder what they are doing with this little guy, who I can only assume was inspired by Baby Yoda. The Blood Hunter has a great team of editors and artists, and builds on the Sword Coast setting of the Lost Mine of Phandelver and the Dragon of Icefire Peak. The adventure itself is about 15 pages divided into 4 chapters, and each one begins with an estimated duration, a summary of what happens, and a smart link to Spotify with music to set the tone for that chapter. And in addition to box text to be read aloud to the player, it includes more information in italics that can be shared and other information in parentheses that's intentionally withheld. These summary blocks and simple distinctions in the text will seriously help you plan for your sessions, and I hope more designers start including them in the future. Chapter 1 is Another Day, Another Kill, where your Blood Hunter has already accepted a 100 gold contract from our cowardly friend, Townmaster Harbin Wester, to slay a werewolf who brutally killed 2 teenagers on the last full moon. The werewolf is written to be the reclusive, elderly beet farmer Aimfree Brightwood, but her remote cottage could easily be switched or combined with a Dabra Gwyn's windmill on Umbridge Hill to bring back a non-player character from level 1 of the Dragon of Icefire Peak. And this werewolf may as well be a were-rat, even the leader of the whiskered gang who your party faced in the Mountain's Toe gold mine. Fortunately, when facing this lycanthrope, your Blood Hunter will be able to use their Crimson Right feature to deal magical damage and actually defeat them. Note, Harbin's contract states he will only reward the character if they bring back the werewolf's head or other proof that it has been killed. Which is much more gruesome than Harbin Wester's typical jobs, especially considering there's a pair of manacles lying in plain view inside the cottage. Generally, this adventure is much darker than the Dragon of Icefire Peak, but of course, you're free to adjust those details to match your playstyle. On a related note, in Chapter 2, Phandalin, your Blood Hunter meets their sidekick, the flamboyant halfling minstrel Olos Bigbottom. Olos is the source of comic relief, so enhancing or downplaying his attitude is the simplest way to adjust the theme. His stats are based on the minstrel sidekick class from Sidekicks Essentials, see my review in the cards above, so he's like a 5th level bard without spellcasting. Your Blood Hunter first sees Olos being attacked in the street by some local ruffians, and if the character intervenes at all, Olos is overjoyed to meet a Blood Hunter and wishes to join their quest, promising to follow from a distance even if he's not wanted. Next, the text says to go to the Townmaster's Hall to receive payment, but you can keep up the theme from Dragon of Icefire Peak, where Harbin is hiding in his own home down the street and paying characters 1 gold piece at a time under the door. Harbin then tells your character to head to the Stonehill Inn, where another traveler is waiting to meet them, and the inn is a great place to plant your regular Dragon of Icefire Peak party as a fun Easter egg. Your Blood Hunter enters into a classic dive bar scene where all the patrons stop and stare, but then literally freeze in time. Behind the character stands the other traveler, Mordenkainen, a legendary wizard of the Greyhawk setting who vigilantly works to maintain the balance of power throughout the D&D multiverse. Mordenkainen then invites your Blood Hunter to his magnificent mansion upstairs, where he explains it is their destiny to confront a green hag named Mercy in the swamp of Gilgar and to retrieve from her a drow infant capable of permanently upsetting the balance. He'll answer some questions, offer a few magic items, and then he teleports your Blood Hunter and Olos right to the swamp. And a neat feature here is that if your character dies at some point in the adventure, they can be respawned by Mordenkainen to this point, as if he were showing them a possible future and the mistakes that they need to avoid. The next chapter, The Swamp of Gilgar, opens with great lore about the swamp and about Mercy, the green hag who lives there. I highly recommend reading this chapter in the full DM's Guild preview because each area of the swamp contains an interesting encounter that could be spun into its own side quest. A bullywug who believes he's an emperor, a will-o-wisp quicksand trap, undead hobgoblin warriors, a mysterious dead wizard, a tortured drow knight, giggling royal pixies, a sleeping battle-worn manticore, and the massive skull hut where Mercy is keeping the drow infant. This chapter also brings into play a few of the player handouts from the appendices which give clues about who to trust in the swamp. My only changes would be to make navigating this location a little easier, as your Blood Hunter might be repeatedly teleported back to Area 1, to maybe substitute the Green Hag Mercy with a half-orc anchorite for continuity with Dragon of Icefire Peak, though I do like how they designed her as a unique version of a hag. And to indicate somewhere that this swamp is part of the Mere of Dead Men, a massive haunted wetland region south of Phandalin and Leylan, which plays a greater part in the Dragon of Icefire Peak expansion quests on D&D Beyond, as a focal point for some of the undead activity driven by the evil cult of Mirkul. Finally, this chapter is where the character can harvest the essence of slain creatures and spend hit dice to craft Blood Hunter concoctions, potion-like items only Blood Hunters can use, with effects based on the abilities of the creatures they were distilled from. For example, Swamp Camouflage requires the essence of Bullywug, 1 hit die, and 50 gold pieces. When consumed, the Blood Hunter gains advantage on stealth checks in a swampy terrain for 1 hour. I was really excited to see these concoctions in such a well-made adventure because I feel that D&D is lacking proper rules for using the environment to craft new potions and spells. Let me know in the comments how you use potion craft in your games. Chapter 4, The Infant, takes place within Mercy's giant skull home and is all about how your Blood Hunter confronts her and what they decide to do with the fateful drow infant. And I don't want to spoil this final encounter for any players out there, so I'll just say that the drow infant is not who you were expecting. And what happens next is entirely up to you. At the time of filming this video, there is no currently planned sequel in the works, but Anthony has been tweeting about writing a new one-on-one adventure for the Bard. But I hope you like this Blood Hunter adventure as much as I do. I'm really trying my best to only accept sponsors with top-notch work that I think you will enjoy. The Blood Hunter has a great balance of social encounters, exploration, and combat. I love the art style, the maps, and the dashes of comedy. And remember, Anthony was generous enough to let me do a giveaway. So 1 winner for every 50 likes. Leave a comment below including Blood Hunter in all caps to enter, and the winners will be announced in my gameplay video of this module on April 15th. Sharing this video and subscribing will help more people see it and make more giveaway copies available. And any support right now during this literal global crisis is a huge help. I'm thinking about starting a Patreon page, so keep an eye out for info about that. But stay safe, thank you for watching, and keep building.